All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love, a love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service.
Arise, O souls,
Good morning, All Souls. My name is Sean, and whether you are here in the room with us or you are online, we are glad you are here. Your presence enriches all of us and our time together. For those that don't know, we are a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our tradition is like this large tent with room for many beliefs and approaches to the questions that matter. Our values of inclusion, compassion, and justice are strong and are what hold us together. We seek to build the beloved community, making room for everyone and creating a world where everyone's needs are met. You may be new here this morning. Welcome. We know that your first time attending a church, you may want to keep a low profile, check things out quietly. That's great. We are simply glad you are here, and your presence enriches all of us. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. You're invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today.
Good morning. I am Brian Doyle, and I am the Vice President of your Board of Trustees. I am here to provide notice of a special meeting called by the All Souls Board. It will be on January 18th, in 2 weeks, at noon, right here in Bragg, right where we are now. It will be following the service that day. This will be a short meeting with the purpose of voting to call our new settled minister, the Reverend Aaron Dyka Holly. Now, one important thing, this vote requires a 30% quorum. Please come out to vote. We need your vote. We need you for the quorum. That would be 75 members, 30%. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, beloveds.
I am the Reverend Aaron Dyka Holly. Thank you for being here this morning. Before I introduce my wonderful colleague who is preaching for all of you, I need to uplift the decades of commitment that our custodian El-Safi Ahmed has given to All Souls. The Reverend Jim Eller was the minister when our church first hired El Safi in 2002, 23 years ago. El Safi has unlocked and locked the building. He's prepared coffee on Sunday mornings. He has greeted all of us. And he has come to work during snowstorms when everyone else stayed home. El Safi has brought warmth to our church while taking care of its spaces. He is feeling shy this morning, so he was real hesitant to come in here to be thanked by all of you. But let's make a big noise of thank you upon his retirement that he can hear from his office. Thank you, El Safi. I invite everyone to please join us after the service in the lobby for a reception and to thank El Safi personally. Now, let me introduce the Reverend Sarah Skochko. She is a Unitarian Universalist minister, a chaplain, and writer. She is the creator of the Things Unitarian Universalists Should Know series on YouTube. And she lives in Portland, Oregon, with her husband and 2 children. Good morning, Sarah!
Thank you. Good morning, Reverend Aaron, and good morning, everyone in the Bragg Auditorium. I can't believe I'm missing the chili cook-off that's coming up. I wish I was there in person.
So thank you for joining us bright and early on the West Coast.
Oh, yes.
Do you have any particular antics about either of your kids that you might be interested in sharing with all of us this morning? Because I read them on Facebook all the time.
Well, there's always a high probability you'll hear someone crying in the background, but rest assured my spouse is on it. What have they been up to? You know, the little one is walking now, but also climbing, and she has discovered that she can reach the kitchen countertops. So we're like having to be newly aware of an increased zone of danger. So there's never a dull moment.
Thank you. Well, let me hand the service over to you, my dear colleague.
Well, thank you, Reverend Aaron. Oh, it is so good to be together. In my heart, I'm with you. In a place where it's sunny. Here it's another cloudy, rainy day in Portland, Oregon. But however we come together, even through this magical portal of the internet, to be together, our shared space becomes a wider sanctuary. A sanctuary where we can worship, be together, shape what is most worthy to us. And so I have these words from Kathleen McTeague as we settle into this holy time. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment, until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own lives. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit as you're willing and able. That is after the chalice lighting. I'm so sorry. Let's light our chalice. I invite you now to settle into our chalice lighting.
Our chalice lighting words are by the Reverend Michelle Collins. This flame burns for the courage we find when fear makes sense. Not the absence of doubt, but the choice to act anyway. We light it for those who speak when silence feels safer, and those who act when invisibility beckons. Then if we could please rise in body or spirit to join in reading our covenant. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
It's time now for our story for all ages. Now, I can't see inside the auditorium right now, but raise your hand if you're familiar with Frog and Toad. These are some of my favorite stories. Our worship theme for the month here at the church is resistance. And today we're talking about how we resist inside of ourselves. Sometimes we want to do something that maybe we shouldn't, and we have to hold ourselves back. Sometimes we resist things like, I don't know, nap time that we really should be doing. There's all types of ways that we resist inside of ourselves. And in this story, one of the friends is resisting eating too many cookies and getting a tummy ache, and the other friend is resisting not having cookies. Toad baked some cookies. "These cookies smell very good," said Toad. He ate one. "And they taste even better," he said. Toad ran to Frog's house. "Frog, Frog," cried Toad, "taste these cookies that I've made." Frog ate one of the cookies. "These are the best cookies I've ever eaten," said Frog. Frog and Toad ate many cookies, one after another. "You know, Toad," said Frog, with his mouth full, "I think we should stop eating. We will soon be sick." "You're right," said Toad. "Let's eat one last cookie, and then we will stop." Frog and Toad ate one last cookie. There were many cookies left in the bowl. "Frog," said Toad, "let us eat one very last cookie, and then we will stop." Frog and Toad ate one very last cookie. "We must stop eating," cried Toad as he ate another. "Yes," said Frog, reaching for another cookie. "We need willpower." "What's willpower?" asked Toad. "Willpower is trying hard not to do something that you really want to do," said Frog. "You mean like trying not to eat all of these cookies?" said Toad. "Right," said Frog. So Frog put the cookies in a box. "There," he said, "now we will not eat any more cookies." "But we can open the box," said Toad. "That's true," said Frog. So Frog tied some string around the box. "There," he said, "now we will not eat any more cookies." But we can cut the string and open the box, said Toad. That's true, said Frog. So Frog got a ladder. He put the box up on a high shelf. There, said Frog. Now we will not eat any more cookies. But we can climb the ladder and take the box down from the shelf and cut the string and open the box, said Toad. That is true, said Frog. So Frog climbed the ladder and he took the box down from the shelf and he cut the string and he opened the box and Frog took the box outside. He shouted in a loud voice, "Hey, birds, here are cookies!" Birds came from everywhere. They picked up all the cookies in their beaks and flew away. Now we have no more cookies, said Toad sadly. Not even one. Yes, said Frog, but we have lots and lots of willpower. You can keep it all, Frog, said Toad. I am going home now to bake a cake. And that is our story for today. Let's now sing the children out as they go to their classes.
At least 7 of the books of the New Testament are believed to have been written by Paul the Apostle. These epistles, or letters, were written to early Christian churches over a period of about 20 years, between the years 48 and 67. Paul knew these communities personally, and he wrote to settle the controversies, offer encouragement, give guidance, and admonish people for misbehaving. Our reading today offers an admonition in the spirit of the Pauline letters. If I Were Paul, by Mark Jarman. Consider how you were made. Consider the lovely geometry that sketched your bones, the passionate symmetry that sewed flesh to your skeleton, and the cloudy zenith whence your soul descended in shimmering rivulets across pure granite to pour as a single braided stream into the skull's cap. Consider the first time you conceived of justice, engendered mercy, brought parity into being, coaxed liberty like a marten from its den to uncoil its limber spine in a sunny clearing. How you understood the inheritance of first principles, the legacy of noble thought, and built a city like a forest in the forest, and erected temples like thunderheads. Consider, as if it were penicillin or the speed of light, the discovery of another's hands, his oval field of vision, her muscular back and hips, his nerve-jarred neck and shoulders, her bleeding gums and dry elbows and knees, his baldness and cauterized skin cancers, her lucid and forgiving gaze, his healing touch, her mind like a prairie. Consider the first knowledge of otherness, how it felt. Consider what you were meant to be in the egg, in your parents' arms, under a sky full of stars. Now imagine what I have to say when I learn of your enterprising viciousness, the discipline of which one of you turns another into a robot or a parasite or a maniac or a body strapped to a chair. Imagine what I have to say. Do the impossible. Restore life to those you have killed, wholeness to those you have maimed, goodness to what you have poisoned, trust to those you have betrayed. Bless each other with the heart and soul, the hand and eye, the head and foot, the lips, tongue and teeth, the inner ear and the outer ear, the flesh and spirit, the brain and bowels, the blood and lymph, the heel and toe, the muscle and bone, the waist and hips, the chest and shoulders, the whole body, clothed and naked, young and old, aging and growing up. I send you this not knowing if you will receive it, or if having received it, you will read it, or having read it, you will know that it contains my blessing.
I think of that Mark Jarman poem often, and I sometimes have these moments. Now imagine what I have to say moments when something egregious happens publicly. And I had one the other day when I saw the news that our country was invading another country for oil again. And I thought, now imagine what Paul would say about this community, right? The American community doing something egregious again. Can we take a moment together? Just take a breath. The news is a lot. It's a lot in the year 2026 that we're somehow now in. The news is a lot. The media is a lot. Social media is a lot. I myself feel fairly bombarded a lot of the time. And I wanted to tell you about an advertisement I saw, an ad that kind of baffled me. I saw this advertisement a couple weeks ago for some kind of food. It was like crackers or oat milk or something. And the text of the advertisement said, "Irresistible indulgence." And my first thought was, who's been resisting oat milk? If I'm supposed to, I confess I haven't been. I was surprised because usually those types of ads are for better foods like chocolate, right? There are so many delicious products marketed in that way as sinfully good or guilty pleasures. And correspondingly, so many kale and quinoa bowls that are marketed as virtuous or with language like elevated or sublime, or with pictures of the Buddha on it, or guilt-free. And that framework is so entrenched that apparently Big Oat is now using it as a kind of reverse psychology to convince us all that oat milk is worth pining after. You know, we're invading another country. I don't have the bandwidth to resist oat milk right now. I can't fight off oats. We have enough going on. There's enough going on. And I just wanted to point out to you, good Unitarian Universalists, that marketing around food in particular has a kind of religious framework to it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you'll see it everywhere. because that framework, I think, has assimilated into what I think of as the American civic religion. That is the set of non-denominational religious beliefs and practices held in common by many or most Americans, but not necessarily taught in churches or mosques. It's kind of the water in which we all swim. And I know this because I once gave a sermon on universalism and our inherent worth, and how we generally don't believe that a person is inherently bad or born in sin or sinful as a person. And after the service at coffee hour, one of my dear and beloved congregants picked up a cupcake and said, "I'm so bad." And I thought, I know you didn't get that from this church. Not from this church. And I bring this up now at the beginning of January because I might be just in the nick of time to stop some of you from making resolutions around weight loss. Having served as a hospital chaplain, I am here to tell you that nobody on their deathbed has ever mentioned their weight to me. And in the end, we all lose all of it. No one has ever mentioned the joyous things that they wish they'd had less of. But I have watched people in hospice try to take a bite of a favorite food, only to find they can no longer swallow and will never have it again. And it's made me think that the greater sin might not be enjoying chocolate too often, but instead practicing self-denial as a spiritual practice and closing ourselves off to the simple joys that we can have while we're still alive. When the poet Mark Jarman asks us to consider what we were meant to be in the egg, in our parents' arms, under a sky full of stars, I think it can't be dieting. I think that we have to have been meant for more than punishing ourselves. Which is not to say that I'm advocating for unabashed hedonism to the point of self-destruction. Buddhism, in particular, has much to say about the spiritual value of practicing moderation. What I am saying is that living here in America, it can be very easy to accidentally adopt hollow spiritual practices around self-denial, resistance, and willpower, or so-called willpower, that do not have a basis in religion, but can become our religion, though their basis is in marketing. And if we're resisting anything as modern religious people, I think that resisting the manipulations and machinations of consumerism and capitalism might be more worthy. In Islam, there's this concept of jihad, which I'm sure you've heard of, which means striving or struggling towards some worthy goal. Like, well, there are lots of them. There are actually two kinds of jihad. The lesser jihad, so-called, is external, and that is like building up the Islamic community, working for a better world. The greater jihad, so-called, the greater jihad is actually the internal one. Your personal struggle to live a righteous life and be a good person. It's not easy, always. I suspect that each of us may have a limited amount of personal struggling or resistance we can practice within ourselves before we're exhausted. And the research tends to bear that out, that what we think of willpower is an exhaustible resource that can be pretty easily spent. Modern life is hard enough. There are so many ambient struggles around us that each of us have to carry out just to get by. Just enduring the news is one. We also have the struggle to figure out what's real on the internet. The struggle to figure out whether each text message and phone call is really a scam. The struggle to afford anything, to live on Social Security, navigate healthcare, or to try to save democracy in our free time. It's a lot. And with our remaining bandwidth, we each choose our own struggles, our own jihad. I want to be a good parent. You know, I have small children, and I love them more than life itself. They're very sweet, and so I try to never raise my voice at them. But I have to tell you, it's not easy. I remember being at a far-right rally here in Oregon on the front line, in my collar, trying to prevent violence from breaking out from the counter-protesters and the armed neo-Nazis who all had guns, some of whom were intoxicated. And that was easier than remaining calm as a parent. It was easier. It was easy to be a good person in that context because the bar was in hell. But last month, my 3-year-old threw a $7 hot dog that she had asked for on the ground at a Christmas festival that we had paid like $57 to get into. And I felt my soul briefly leave my body as I took a breath. That's the real jihad. That's it. We cannot conflate being able to resist a cupcake when we really want one with being morally strong, when real moral strength has to do with how we treat each other and how we comport ourselves in a morally complicated world. Social media sites have become an endless scroll of algorithmic labyrinths designed to capture and detain our attention like the Minotaur and sell it to advertisers. And as I've noted, modern advertising and product development have gotten really good at wearing down our ability to resist our own worst impulses by selling us things like, oh gosh, giant trucks that will make you a bigger man. There's so much unhealthy about all of that. I recently saw a video on Facebook, a terribly toxic place at times, of footage from a doorbell camera showing an angry neighbor banging on someone's door and screaming, only to be sent scurrying away humiliated when the homeowner turned on the lawn sprinklers, drenching them. A friend of mine shared this, and with some caption like, I know that's right, she got what was coming to her. But then there was another video after that. It was a compilation. In the next video, another angry neighbor was banging on a door and screaming, only to be sent scurrying away again, humiliated when the homeowner released their dogs. And then another video and another, all of them generated by AI. The angry neighbor falls over a flower pot backwards. The angry neighbor gets attacked by bees. Another compilation showed doorbell footage of package thieves, that modern scourge, stealing a cardboard box from a porch, running back towards their car only to have the package explode in their hands, covering them in blue powder or pink powder, and sending them sprawling, undignified, like across the lawn. And the package thief video happened over and over and over and over. The irate neighbors were all women. The package thieves were all fat. These days, it can feel like people who actually do the wrong thing never get punished. No one bad ever gets caught or dies, it seems, but in these videos, they did. Over and over again, our enemies got what they deserved. They got what was coming to them. Karma was served. And the videos were shared hundreds of thousands of times. But they contained no blessing. Nothing in the real world was made right. A data center absorbed, another lake's worth of water. And a whole lot of people felt some kind of satisfaction in themselves. But no justice was done. I don't think that it's spiritually healthy to get too much vengeance. And I myself am a connoisseur of vengeance, I don't mind admitting. In most of us, there's this appetite for what we would like to think of as justice, but might not always be that. It's not spiritually healthy to consume too much of that over and over again, getting a dopamine hit. All of us want to be the person in the house. We want to think of ourselves as the person in the house finally getting a chance to turn the sprinklers on. We don't want to see ourselves as the transgressor out on the lawn. But the truth in the real world is that we take turns, and all of us has been that angry neighbor banging on a door for no reason. I would like to think that a loving God would be unfamiliar with our modern conception of gluttony as being eating too much food. When the Bible was written, people could not get enough food, and they routinely starved to death. What a blessing it would be to have extra bread. Would God not be happy at the invention of chocolate? I would hope so. God, I think, would be so unfamiliar with that conception. You're complaining about having too much to eat, my God. While our society, meanwhile, seems to have an insatiable appetite for being right, for vengeance, for power, for the domination of our enemies, for what Mark Jarman calls our enterprising viciousness, alongside an unwillingness to recognize or admit when we are the wrongdoers. In Unitarian Universalism, sometimes I fear that we suffer from this affliction of always being the good guys, that we like to talk about all of our social justice work, and we've done so much. We talk about our role in the civil rights movement, in the legalization of gay marriage. And in the past, we have not talked so much about things like the fact that there was a Unitarian boarding school for Indian children that removed them from their parents. Around 2017, there was a big controversy in our denomination around white supremacy language, what it means to be in a white supremacy culture. And a lot of Unitarian Universalists pushed back, saying that cannot be us. But ours is a very white denomination, and I don't think it's a bad thing to look into what stuff is ours, what times we are the neighbor out on the lawn. And I think that food, perseverating around food and our eating habits, may be a weak substitute for the irresistible things that we actually should resist indulging in, like self-exoneration when we should be doing self-examining. If any of us is going to make a resolution, and I do love a good resolution, I think we can make ones that add more joy to our days, or help make the world a better place. I think it might be a good resolution to carry sticky googly eyes around and stick them on every sign in a public place to make them a little bit more silly. You could make a resolution that helps develop the kind of character you want to have, or the life you want to live. Resolve to send more birthday cards, to greet more neighbors. You can resolve to be a better parent, no matter how old your kids are, or a better friend, or a better community member. You can resolve to eat great food and share it with the people you love, like at the chili cook-off that's coming up. But whatever it is, make it something real. Make it something that counts. We are religious people. Even those of us who are atheists and humanists, we are Unitarian Universalists. And we are in the practice of becoming better people, of striving, of struggling. Don't make your struggle a hollow one. Amen. May it be so. And now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for hymn number 352, Find a Stillness. Thank you. We're having a second story today to round out the service. As a kind of counterpoint to Frog and Toad, this is one of my favorite books. This is We Found a Hat by John Klassen, a story about two turtles, and one of them is struggling with the impulse to be a little bit naughty. We found a hat. We found it together. But there is only one hat, and there are two of us. How does it look on me? It looks good on you. How does it look on me? It looks good on you too. It looks good on both of us. But it would not be right if one of us had a hat and the other did not. And so the good turtle says, there's only one thing to do. We must leave the hat here and forget that we found it. But the naughty turtle was still thinking about it. We are watching the sunset. We are watching it together. What are you thinking about? Asked the naughty turtle. I'm thinking about the sunset, said the good turtle. What are you thinking about? Nothing. We are going to sleep. We are going to sleep here on our rock together. Are you almost asleep? Asks the naughty turtle. I am almost asleep. Are you all the way asleep? I am all the way asleep. I am dreaming a dream. What are you dreaming about? Asks the naughty turtle. I will tell you what I'm dreaming about. I'm dreaming that I have a hat. It looks very good on me. You're also there. You also have a hat. It looks very good on you too. We both have hats. And so the naughty turtle went back to the rock. He fell asleep with his friend. And together they dreamed.
My heart is heavy today. With so much weighing on me after our country bombed another country and abducted their president without provocation. Today is not the day to analyze right or wrong or to imagine what will come next. We'll do that next week. Today, let us hold the fear. The fear of those who experienced the bombs, those who have had loved ones die in the blast, those who were injured, those who were not there but experienced the same gut-wrenching fear that all of us held after 9/11. A country that does not know what will happen next. Some rejoicing the removal of a dictator, yes, but also that deep uncertainty for one another's lives, homes, and livelihoods. Let us hold their fear. And let us hold our own fear. Personal fears for deployments of selves, friends, or family members. Fears for the future of our country. Fears for our own rights and safety. Fears for the future of the world. We, too, do not know what will happen next. So I invite you to notice what is happening inside of you. Name it if you can. And feel what is there. Hold your feelings sacred. And let us now share a moment of silence. May it be so. We come together as a community to support one another, to live out our values, to know that we are not alone, and to ever expand our love. Please share your generosity of spirit with this, your church. The offering will now be graciously given and gratefully received. Please join me in reading the dedication of our offering. We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
As we leave this place, this greater shared sanctuary, let's think about to what we commit ourselves. To what do we resolve ourselves? Our closing words come from Howard Thurman, who writes, "In the quietness of this place, surrounded by the all-pervading presence of the holy, my heart whispers, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve, that in good times or in tempests, I may not forget that to which my heart is committed. Keep fresh before me my moments of high resolve." Let us rise in body or in spirit and sing together number 391, Voice Still and Small.